Somewhere in a hospital right now, a trauma team is racing against the clock. There's no time to run a blood test, so they reach for one bag, the same one they always reach for in an emergency: type O. It's the blood every hospital keeps stocked, the blood that can go into almost anyone, and the blood that, according to new genetic research, may be one of the oldest immune systems still running inside a living human body. If you have type O positive blood, stick around, because what scientists are learning about it right now is not just interesting, it might change how you think about your own body. If this is your first time here, this channel exists for one reason: to help you build a life that starts with God, not with panic. So before we go further, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications, because tomorrow morning you're going to want this again. Let's begin. Part number 1, the label you never questioned. Think about the last time a nurse asked for your blood type. You probably answered without thinking twice, like reciting your shoe size, a letter, a symbol, a box on a form. But that little label sits on top of something much bigger, a piece of biological history written in your DNA, shaped over an enormous stretch of time, and still actively working inside you every single day. Here's the part most people never hear. Scientists believe the basic A, B, and O blood group system goes back a very long way in our evolutionary family tree, long before modern humans existed and shared in some form with other primates. That's not a detail from a hospital form. That's ancient inheritance. And here's a question worth sitting with. Why would a trait stick around for that long? In biology, things that last that long usually aren't decoration. They're survival tools. Part number 2, what makes types O or O different at the molecular level? Let's get concrete for a second, because the why matters. Your red blood cells are covered in tiny protein markers, like ID badges, that your immune system reads constantly to tell friend from foe. People with type A or B blood have extra sugar molecules attached to those badges. Type O doesn't. It's the simplest, most stripped-down version, which is exactly why it's compatible with more people and is prized as the emergency room blood type. That simplicity is also why researchers are now experimenting with enzymes that can strip those extra markers off type A blood, essentially trying to convert it into type O. Think about that for a moment. Some of the most advanced lab science in transfusion medicine today is aimed at recreating artificially something type O bodies already do naturally. Part number 3, the double-edged sword. Now here's where the story gets honest, because no blood type is a superpower with no trade-offs. Research has linked type O blood to lower levels of certain clotting factors, which appears to correspond with somewhat lower rates of dangerous blood clots, heart attacks, and strokes in some studies. But the same studies suggest higher associations with other risks, including certain infections and a higher reported risk of stomach ulcers and pancreatic cancer in some populations. This isn't a flaw. It's a pattern that shows up again and again in evolution. Every genetic trait brought protection against some threats and left the door open to others. Nothing is universally protective. Understanding your own profile with a doctor using real data matters more than chasing a single headline. One trait worth mentioning: multiple studies have found that people with type O blood tend to show more resistance to severe malaria because the parasite has a harder time attaching to type O cells. That's very likely one reason type O is especially common in regions where malaria shaped survival for thousands of years. Your blood type isn't random. It's a record of what your ancestors were up against. Part number 4, reading the past in ancient DNA. For most of history, that record could only be inferred. Scientists could look at living people and guess. They couldn't look back in time. That's changed. Researchers have now recovered and studied ancient genomes from Homo sapiens who lived tens of thousands of years ago, and from Neanderthals, and even from individuals with mixed ancestry. And what they found surprised them. Blood group genes weren't static. They shifted and diversified relatively quickly as humans moved into new environments, met new pathogens, and adapted. One especially striking piece of research points to the Persian Plateau, a region where evidence suggests early human groups paused for thousands of years on their journey out of Africa. Some researchers believe that stopover gave enough time for new blood group variations to emerge before people continued spreading across the world. It's a strange thing to picture, a chapter of your own biology being quietly written by people who never saw a map, never knew where they'd end up, thousands of generations before you were born. Part number 5. A global pandemic becomes a natural experiment fast forward to 2020. COVID-19 became, unintentionally, one of the largest population studies in blood type history because so many people across so many countries were exposed to the same virus at once. Several studies observed that people with type O blood had somewhat lower rates of infection and, in some data, fewer severe vascular complications, possibly connected to those same lower clotting factor levels mentioned earlier. It's important to say clearly, blood type was one small factor among many. Age, health conditions, and exposure mattered far more. But it's a real ongoing area of research, and it added one more thread to a much bigger scientific story about how ancient biology still interacts with modern threats. Part number 6. Why this matters to you right now. Here's the truth underneath all of this. Your immune system doesn't just learn during your lifetime. Part of it was handed to you, encoded before you took your first breath, passed down through generation after generation of people who survived long enough to have children. Every trait you carry is, in a very real sense, evidence. Evidence that somewhere in your family line, someone made it through something that could have ended the story right there. That's true no matter what blood type you have. But if you carry type O, the type still relied on in ambulances and emergency rooms around the world right now, today, you're carrying one of the oldest, most tested biological templates our species has. And the science isn't finished. New blood group systems are still being discovered. There are dozens recognized today, with new ones added as recently as the past couple of years. Every discovery adds detail to a picture that's still being drawn. So, the next time someone asks for your blood type and you answer with 2 letters and a plus sign, remember what's actually underneath that answer. Millions of years of adaptation, ancient migrations, plagues survived, and a molecular signature written by people whose names we will never know, but whose survival made yours possible. Your blood type isn't just a box on a form, it's a story, and you're the one still telling it. If this changed the way you think about your own biology, that's exactly why this video exists. Like this video if you learned something new today. Subscribe for more science-backed stories about the human body that you were never taught in school. Share this with someone who has type O blood. They need to hear this too. And drop a comment below. What's your blood type? Let's compare notes. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next one. Disclaimer: this video is for educational and entertainment purposes. Blood type research is an active and evolving field, and correlations described here, disease risk, clotting factors, infection resistance, are population-level findings from scientific studies, not individual medical predictions. Always talk to a healthcare provider about your personal health risks.